So, it's 11:30 at night, I have a lot to get through. Let's see if I can do it without any edits. I've got a new lamp set up for when I do night shoots, so we'll see if that helps with the lighting when I shoot at night. People upstairs are still moving chairs around and walking around even though it's 11:30, so hopefully that doesn't keep showing up on this video like it did in the last one. I've been working a lot at work lately on a project that is getting close to completion, so I'm pretty exhausted right now. And also, the update with iOS 10 on my phone seems to not be working well with my, I'm guessing it's a first-gen Apple TV, and it's very not synced up. So that's going to be weird when shooting this, because it's about 3 seconds behind on the television, which I use to see how the image is. So what are you gonna do? Alright, the Apple TV is now so far behind that it's about 10 seconds, so I can't tell if I'm actually recording or not when I'm recording. This will be interesting. So this week I want to talk to you about sports-ish. Sorta. Sport. Just sport. Just one sport. Last Saturday, I went to one of my favorite sporting events to go to in the LA area. This sport was invented in the 1930s, became popular in the 1940s, and has ebbed and flowed ever since then up to current day. For most of its existence, it has been a legitimate sport where its outcomes were determined by the players themselves as the game was going on, much like all other sports, but for a period of about 20 years or so, it was actually a sports entertainment. Much like professional wrestling is, where all of the outcomes were predetermined. The real draw of it was the larger-than-life personalities. But that all ended towards the end of last century, and nowadays it is mainly all legitimate. It's all determined by the players on the track, and it is all about the competition. Some of the things that have been brought over from those old days is the crazy names and the crazy over-the-top personalities, but everything is legit. One of the things I like most about this sport is that it is one of the few sports in this world that is predominantly participated in by women. I am of course talking about roller derby. Now, if you don't know what roller derby is, you have two options. One, you can go watch Whip It. That's a movie about roller derby. It's the most famous movie about roller derby. It's the only movie I can think of about roller derby, but I'm sure there's hundreds that were made in the 60s and 70s. The other thing you can do is you can go to the vast YouTube library and look for a video that explains how roller derby works. I'm sure there's plenty of them, and in fact I'll link to one of them right here. Now if I could just find something for you to click on so that you could get to that video. I know. But just in case you don't want to go to another video to see how roller derby works, I'll give you a quick, brief breakdown of how it works. Basically, there's two teams of 5. They are on a track together. It's either a banked track or a flat track. One player on each team is the jammer. They have a star on their helmet. The rest of the team are blockers. There is one person on each team that is the lead blocker. They have a stripe on their helmet. The game consists of 4 15-minute quarters. Within each quarter, there are smaller rounds called jams. At the beginning of these jams, the two teams line up on the track, and the whistle is blown. They then start going around the track, and the goal is for the two jammers to get out of the group, and then go all the way around the track, and get back over to the group. Their goal then is to lap all of the players on the other team. The lead jammer can call this off at any time by hitting their hips. It is the job of the blockers to keep the jammers from making it out of the pack to begin with, and to keep them from getting through the pack on their next time around. There's a bunch of penalties and other rules and all that stuff, but that's the basic gist of it. In the LA area, we have a group called the LA Derby Dolls. The first time I went to one of their matches was about 3 years ago. Some friends of mine invited me to go because they had gone and they thought it was a great time, and so I went along, and lo and behold, it was a great time. About 2 years ago, they ended up having to move out of their facility, which they were calling the Doll Factory. It was a warehouse in Filipino Town in Los Angeles. It took them about a year to find a new place, but eventually they did find a warehouse in El Cerritos that is now known as the Dollyceum. They set up an Indiegogo page to assist in paying for the move, and they ended up making the money that they needed in order to move. I myself actually donated $100 to them because I think that roller derby is very important because of what I said before. It being one of the few sports that is predominantly participated in by women. There really isn't much like that out there. This is something that young girls can look up to and be inspired by. I know this for a fact because before the main bouts at the LA Derby Dolls, they have the Junior Dolls, who are basically like 10 to 14-year-old girls that have already gotten into roller derby and are learning how to do it. The LA Derby Dolls is made up of 6 teams and an all-star team, which has the best players from those 6 teams. The all-star team is known as the LA Ryettes. We once went and saw them when they competed against the Rocky Mountain team, which is from Colorado, which is actually where I'm from, and that was a lot of fun, to see my new current home against my old home. This past weekend it was the Tough Cookies versus the Sirens. We always go when the Tough Cookies are playing because they're our team, and that's really only because when my friends first went to the LA Derby Dolls, the Tough Cookies were the team that won that night, so they've always just been their team. And so I just jumped on the bandwagon as well, because that's what you do. You need a team. My favorite player on the team is known as StephCon1. The reason she's my favorite player is very simple. The first time I went to the LA Derby Dolls, I tweeted about it. She replied to my tweet. That's it. She's my favorite player now. That's all it takes. Acknowledge my existence, and you'll be my favorite. And so with that, let's take a look at some footage I actually took at the LA Derby Dolls this past weekend. Don't worry, I actually took the footage this time. This isn't some Weird Al action figure footage. This is real. However, I will state there's not a lot of it, because my phone was dying when I went, so probably less than a minute. Let's go to the tape. So I am at the LA Derby Dolls Dollyceum. I have no idea how loud the speaker is. The speaker is very loud, so I don't know if this is actually picking up at all, but hopefully it is. Currently it is halftime for the juniors, which is the young girls. They're like, I'd say 14 and under. And then the regular Derby Dolls, the Tough Cookies, and the Fight Crew, I believe, are going to be playing later. And that is like the main event. That's what I'm here for. My battery is already at 20%, so hopefully it doesn't die. I forgot to bring a battery pack with me, so see what happens. So that was just a taste of what it's like. If you have a roller derby league somewhere in your area, I highly recommend going and checking it out. If it's a flat track or a bank track, just go and enjoy it. Personally, I prefer the bank tracks because I think it's more exciting, but not everywhere has enough room for a bank track, so some places have to have the flat track. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go find out exactly why Windows 10 and Apple TV do not seem to get along, because this is a real pain. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of whatever it is you call what I do here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to support me in this endeavor, feel free to hit up my Patreon. Links to all of this stuff is down in the doobly-doo down below. And as always, have a good however long it is until you watch my next video.